Thank you very much. I am the director of the Laboratory of Adapted Physical Activity, Developmental and Physical Disabilities of the Faculty of Physical Education and Sports Science of the Capodistrian National and Capodistrian University of Athens. My today's speech is going to present the physical activity and quality of life in individuals with autism spectrum and intellectual disability. As we very well know, ASD refers to a pervasive neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by significant impairments in social interaction and communication skills, restricted, repetitive, and stereotypical patterns of behavior, interests, and activities. About 33% of autistic children have co-occurring intellectual impairment. A common pattern is low verbal scores and high nonverbal scores. About 25% have splinter skills and isolates of ability, and 5% of autistic savants display isolated and remarkable talents. There are three factors that contribute to the spectrum nature of autism. Children with autism may differ in level of intellectual ability, from profound disability to above average intelligence. Children with autism vary in the severity of their language problems. And third, their behavior changes with age. The other part of my presentation today will be the quality of life. So quality of life is an essential indicator of mental health, refers to life satisfaction, including physical, emotional, and social and school well-being. According to self-concept theory, self-perception influences mental health through self-consistency and individual response, and improved self-perception positively affects mental health. Quality of life, therefore, is achieved by satisfying basic psychological needs such as self-acceptance, and children and adolescents with disabilities are found to have low level of quality of life and self-concept. Self-concept is one of the core indicators of quality of life, and it is positively associated with quality of life in children and adolescents with disabilities. Self-concept has been defined as the self-perception of confidence, worth, competence, and abilities. Children and adolescents with autism are more likely to be overweight and be more physically inactive than typically developing peers. A high prevalence of obesity in children and youths with disabilities might lead to serious health consequences such as cardiovascular disease and psychological issues due to decreased energy expenditure as a result in decreased participation in physical activities, inappropriate eating habits, and chronic diseases. Research results highlight the intercorrelated link between motor performance and cognitive development during childhood. Students with ASD exhibited improved cognitive, social, and behavioral skills after performing aerobic exercises. Let's see what the review of literature tells us about the motor skills and their contribution to the cognitive, the language, and the social development of all children. In infancy, motor skills are related to the development of language, attention, and cognition. And in childhood, motor skills are related to school performance, social communication, cognition, and imitation. Previous developmental research in autistic and neurotypical children indicates that motor skills are foundational to the development of cognitive, language, and social skills across infancy and childhood. Given these relationships, relations between motor skills and a wide range of developmental domains. Motor skills are associated with autistic individuals' adaptive behavior scores and may better predict differences in adaptive behavior than IQ scores in autism. In this research, the impact of adapted physical education on physical fitness of students with intellectual disabilities was studied, and it was a 3-year study. So the first year was presented with skills that had to do with adapted sport, but also regular sport, such as basketball, physical training, gymnastics, etc. The second year, it was a year of more complicated and more more sports that required some previous training. And the third year was also testing team sports and other among the adapted sport catalog. The certified special education teachers were assigned to teach adapted physical education courses if they had physical education related background and training. If they had physical education degree, Special Olympic sports coaching certificates, and or participation in related adapted physical education workshops. Each semester was 20 weeks in duration, with each class receiving 50-minute adapted physical education sessions twice a week. What they found was that in a series of repeated measures ANOVA, there was positive outcomes in body composition, in muscular endurance, in explosive strength, in flexibility, and also in cardiovascular fitness. However, in the third semester, there was some improvements in muscular strength and endurance and cardiovascular fitness, but they found a lower score in body composition and flexibility. That could be attributed to the fact that the sample, the students that were involved were in the teenage years, where this period of life is characterized by many hormonal and body changes. The second study that I'm going to talk about is examining the physical activity and quality of life in adults with autism spectrum disorder and intellectual ability. And in this study, there were many, like the ages were from 18 to 55. These adults, they were taking approximately 7,000 steps a day. And the results signified that the profile, the quality of life profile of satisfaction, competence, social belonging, and independence domain was improved. Adults with autism also and intellectual disability in this study rated the satisfaction domain significantly higher than the competence domain, the independence domain, and the social belonging domain. Now, results are also coming from all these participants who, of course, had other co-occurring conditions that were related or non-related to their ASD. In this study, we examined the efficacy of 6-month adapted aerobic program on motor proficiency, BMI, body mass index, and cognitive abilities of students with autism spectrum disorder. In this study, We investigated the efficacy of the 6 months adapted aerobic program on motor performance. And what we found was that the participation in this during this period of time of adapted aerobic program can improve participants' motor proficiency, body composition, and cognitive abilities. That signifies the importance of developing exercise intervention programs to improve motor proficiency, physical fitness, and cognitive ability of children and youth with ASD should be a priority for the community in order to increase their overall health-related physical fitness. Finally, in this study, the preschool children were examined, and the influence of adapted physical activity was examined, whether they had an impact, whether they have some significant difference in their overall fitness, and also to their physical activity. It seemed like children were significantly more enjoying the outside than the outdoors than the indoors activities, and this is very important to consider, and also the fact that these outdoors programs were also in very small groups, and as much as possible individualized to the special needs of the children or the very small groups. So the philosophy on its special education is based today according to these basic principles, like a child may have a problem, but it's not problematic. She's one separate personality with its own abilities, needs, peculiarities, and interests. Second, no child is uneducable. And third, every child has the right to education, vocational rehabilitation, and integration into society. However, the type and the severity of the disability are directly linked to both the perceptions of the social group and the experiences of people with disabilities. Social inequalities, exclusions for equal participation, and treatment without prejudice and stereotypes towards people with disabilities, combined with the inadequacy of social support structures, are part of everyday life and negatively affect the social nature of the disability. Now I'm going to talk about the purpose of the program on adapted physical education. First of all, we need to help children to understand what is healthy way of eating, and we need to encourage them in order to love exercise. We need to teach them skills and programs that will be aiming towards gaining positive experience. We should also communicate the goals of the program with their caregivers, with their parents, and that could be in very many different ways nowadays with technology and telehealth, with any way that could be, and it could be done from with distance learning. The program goals are to increase the physical activity and make exercise a lifelong activity. In this slide, I'll talk about a multidimensional concept of physical literacy. And this concept provides us a holistic understanding of movement and physical activity. Contains an affective, a physical, and a cognitive domain, which together lay the foundation of the individual's capacity and the tendency for participating in physical activities currently and throughout life, is increasingly regarded as a cause of the causes to health promotion. In this in this picture, what we can see is the physical literacy model containing the affective, the physical, and the cognitive domain. Having motor skills and physical capacities improved, we also affect the motivation, the confidence, and generally speaking, also the knowledge and the understanding of each one of the activities. The definition of well-being includes psychological, physical, and social aspects and focuses on how well an individual is functioning in their daily life. Thus, physical well-being is a general state of physical health and daily state of physical functioning. The term of psychosocial well-being includes psychological and social well-being together, including subjective experiences of pleasant and or negative emotions about self and others. So what are the objectives? The major objectives of introducing an adapted physical activity program is for children with ASD and intellectual disabilities to gain positive experiences, not to feel excluded in an inclusive environment, for all children to feel that they have fun and be entertained, to be constantly encouraged to utilize their potential and acquire useful knowledge about themselves and about the others. So here we have 3 messages in our program that matter. The first message is I can, the second is all together, and the third is I like. So the first message that everyone participates is our goal for children to feel the joy of movements, play, and exercise. Ways to strengthen it is cultivating team spirit, acceptance and respect of all members. We give emphasis on effort rather than performance. We reward personal improvement, and the key to success is our own attitude, which has to be communicated to the child's attitude. The second message, I can, is about the feeling that they can succeed. Every child needs to know their potential, accept it, and develop it. Ways to strengthen it is to believe in themselves, to increase their self-esteem, to expand their capabilities, to reward improvement, and to believe that they can. To increase their self-esteem and make the person to feel the worth of themselves. The ways to strengthen it is to eliminate negative judgment, to give emphasis on individual improvement, to cultivate a sense of respect for the effort and participation, and supporting the individual to try harder and enhance the joy of participation. The third message is our goal is for children to desire joy. So the ways to strengthen it is to avoid negative judgment and exclusion, to ensure everyone's participation, to consolidate the concept that everyone can, to emphasize the personal improvement, and accept the acceptance of the rest of the team. So game, game, game. In this picture, we see that reward is absolutely necessary. So the message is cooperation and teamwork, physical fitness, and success, satisfaction, and fun. So participation, ability, and joy. The role of the APA teacher, the adapted physical education teacher, is to maximize the effectiveness of the lesson and become an animator for the students. Also, we need the activation and the involvement of parents regularly sending them newsletters and other information about their child and about the program that they're pursuing. The parent has to be, if it's possible, a role model, and contracts to be ratified by parents. In this picture, we see in a lifelong course, we strive for mental health, physical health, social health, quality of life, healthcare system, and society. These are not only for children with autism or intellectual disability, but there are other goals to be succeeded by everyone in their lives. In this picture, we see the SDG, the sustained, just a minute. Yeah, 30 activities of the APA, the 30 activities that are by the United Nations to be succeeded. And we try to follow as much as possible the agenda, this agenda, try to work on programs that eliminate poverty, to improve good health and well-being, to provide good quality of education, to gender equality, to industry motivation and infrastructure, creating skills that can be for the children in order to be included into the social and the professional life. Yes, I'm finishing. To reduce inequalities, to sustainable cities and communities, and peace, justice, and strong institutions. Thank you very much for your attention.